What are the UK election results and what do they mean to individuals? Well, first of all, it looks like the Labour Party have got a landslide victory. It looks like they're going to win 410 seats compared to the Conservatives' approximately 130. That's the worst ever performance from the Conservatives. It's since 2010 that the Conservatives have been in power. And many would say that this vote is not just a vote for Labour, but because they hate the Tories so much. Over 14 years, they've made many mistakes, as they've admitted this morning. Labour, of course, haven't had to say too much about policy. Just the hate for the Tories has meant that if they just had a steady bat, so to speak, if they just stayed in the middle ground, they were able to get the votes. Of course, that doesn't mean now that they've got such a decisive victory. That decisive victory, however, will be criticised. It's a first past the post system. What does that mean? Well, each constituency, each area has one MP. You could get 40% of the votes. Someone else get 39. You win that seat. The party that has the most seats takes power in the UK. Of course, other countries like France, for example, end up with proportional representation. And what that means is that you're likely to have in that country a divided parliament or divided government where they have to have a coalition. Not so in the UK. First past the post wins. Liberal Democrats, for example, may get similar percentages to the Tories. They've done well by comparison to the Tories, but they'll get perhaps half as many seats or maybe less than the Tories. First past the post often is criticised, but it gives Labour this opportunity to take action. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, the stock market has already priced in a Labour win. So whilst there's some uncertainty removed, it's unlikely to have a massive effect on the stock market. Same with the pound, it's going to be steady, might increase slightly as may the stock market, uncertainty removed. Although the polls indicated this win, so perhaps it's going to be muted. But as they start to take action, people will, of course, investors and indeed people deciding where they want to live will decide on the actions they want to take. Capital gains tax is said to be going to be increased. They've said they're not going to increase income tax. Well, they've got to raise money to make the promises that they have said in order to improve government services like the National Health Service. National Health Service, of course, has been run down, as many people believe, under the Tories. So many would say, well, if we can tax the rich a little bit higher, then wow, guess what's going to happen? We'll have more money and we can invest in services. Of course, in real life, sometimes if you increase tax too much, it's called the breaking point, the tipping point. People leave the country. They decide that other places are better to live in. And of course, that is where they know that there's a tipping point. If they go too far, potentially it causes less tax, not more tax. Capital gains tax, however, looks like an easy win. Right now, it's a max of 28%. If you made it the same as income tax, potentially we're talking 45. Easy to do. Of course, it affects people selling assets. People living abroad, however, can make sure that they mitigate that by taking action straight away and talking to a financial advisor like someone from De Vere. If you're in that situation, take action now. There's potential for increasing inheritance tax, the range of things that it applies to. Right now, pensions are exempt. Will they be in the future? Many believe they won't be. Trusts, same thing. Will they be in the future? Many believe they won't be. So we look and we see what's happening. But many will be saying, Labour, when they've been in the government in the past, they've always increased taxes. Many will say, well, hang on, maybe it's time for me to move to a different country. We'll look and wait and see what happens. But at least from a stock market point of view, right now, certainty is gained. Particular companies to win, healthcare industry, potentially. Green energy, again, they've been favourites from the Labour Party's manifesto. So expect healthcare companies to win and indeed green energy. We'll look and see, and I'll keep you up to date with any other changes.